Good morning and welcome to The Insider, the program that will take you through an exclusive look into political, economic and social development in Thailand. I am Major General Virachon Sukhontapatipak. This week I'll bring you to Dr. Harald Link building, which is a home of B.Grimm, one of the leading companies in Thailand. It has flourished for 137 years in this country, with its roots firmly planted in Thailand. The story of B.Grimm is not just an amazing story. It is not just a very interesting story, but it is a part of the history of this country. It has evolved just like a fairy tale of the enterprising or the fairy tale of the adventurous people. So let's take a closer look on B.Grimm's story and see where it stands now.
137 years later, and the B.Grimm remains one of the strongest players in the Thai economy, and indeed the Asia-Pacific region. With a firm foundation in transport, healthcare, real estate, and energy, B.Grimm is set to have another outstanding year in Thailand and in ASEAN. This not only means new opportunities in the Thai economy, but a more dynamic role in Thai society. The B.Grimm has one of the largest corporate social responsibility portfolios in the country, and its motto is doing business with compassion for the development of civilization. We know the saying, you can't know where you're going until you know where you've been. So with over a century of experience in Thailand, along with being a pioneer and a partner for the progress of Thai society, who better to talk to than B.Grimm about understanding and indeed seeing Thailand's future direction. It was exactly 101 years ago when Mr. Harald Link acquired B.Grimm and started a number of new ventures. Through 2 world wars, many global economic crises and changes in Thailand, the B.Grimm Group has stood as one of the best indicators of Thailand's achievements. His grandson is here with us today. He is Mr. Harald Link, current chairman of B.Grimm. As a modern-day chairman of a large business, you would expect Mr. Link to be up to date with the latest trends and innovations. That he is, but he also stands as a leader who has embraced the past, one who preserves our cultures, traditions, and values. This makes him an icon of the Thai way.
สวัสดีครับ สวัสดีครับ Well, thank you for having me here.
Warm welcome
Thank you
to
so
B.Grimm.
much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Really good honor to have you here.
May I call you Kun Link?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you very much for having me at your wonderful office this morning. Thank you very much. It is indeed a privilege for me to be here with you this morning. I have learned a lot about B.Grimm. The story is just like a fairy tale, as I mentioned earlier. B.Grimm started the business as the chemist shop in Thailand and managed to do the business through good time, bad time in Thailand. And 25 years later, after 1878, 25 years later, your grandfather came to Thailand and worked for B.Grimm. I suppose that during that time, it's very important time for Thailand because we were talking about modernization. Modernization has become a national agenda for Thailand at that time, and B.Grimm was with us. So to me, B.Grimm is a part of Thai history.
Thank you.
Just wondering why Thailand is chosen for your family to do the business.
First of all, warm welcome to us here.
Thank you.
We really think it's a great honor and pleasure. Same as we think it's a great honor and pleasure that we are allowed to live here in Thailand. My father, my uncle, my grandfather, they were always so highly appreciative of being able to live here. Why did he come here? Actually, the story starts with the 2 founders. So Erwin Müller, he was the son of a well-situated lawyer in Vienna and felt the urge to go abroad, see the world, and go into business. So he was sent, after being apprentice in Hamburg, to Thailand to open up a branch for that company called Goethe. But they later, 3 years later, wanted to close it. So he had fallen in love with Thailand already at that time. So maybe Mr. Müller at that time already felt that. He also later married to a Thai lady, and he was highly honored. He became Luang and then became Pra Padipat Rajapasong. So, young man, he loved Thailand, he wanted to stay. He saw that there are not enough medicines in Thailand. People might die unnecessarily. So he wrote to his friend Bernhard Grimm, who was a pharmacist, to please come. So they set up maybe the first modern medicine company in Thailand at that time, 1878. I was told by the Snitwong family because B.Grimm, we already had forgotten that. So when the company expanded, then Mr. Müller was looking, first of all, he was looking for a successor, and they're looking for somebody to manage the pharmacy. And my grandfather applied. And from what I've seen at B.Grimm, all the partners, they always felt that they are an really integrated part of society. So they always saw that whatever you do, you have to do something which is community-oriented. Like the founders, they built the Wat Moon Jindaram on Klong Si. Why? Because they wanted to have their workers who work on the Klong to have a place to worship. And Mr. Müller's wife also had asked him to build something like that.
Can I put this way? The reason for your family to do business in Thailand, to choose Thailand, is normally people talk about the Thai hospitality, but from what you have explained, it's more than hospitality. It's sincerity.
Yes.
I believe these two qualities is very important for your family to stay in Thailand. The hospitality, the Thai hospitality, and the sincerity of the Thai people. Am I correct in that point?
Yes. My grandfather, later he became the owner of the company. And there was a letter in 1914 he wrote to Germany and said that, oh, the company is so prosperous, he hopes it will go on for many more years. And then 3 years later he got expropriated because Thailand declared war on Germany. And then the same thing happened again in 1945.
Second World War?
Second World War. And every time my grandfather was so convinced that Thailand is the right place for us, and the Thai people are so welcoming, and it was by pressure from allied countries that they had to do that. And so he only thought of starting in Thailand again. And my uncle, he was born here, my father was born here. My uncle lived in Germany only for 15 years and over nearly 70 years in Thailand. My father was Consul General for Thailand for 34 years, and I had the feeling he enjoyed being the Consul General, helping Thai who were in Germany even more than doing the B.Grimm company, even though he liked to do business.
So we were talking about infrastructure development, and we talked about 100 something years ago. Would you be able to share with me what projects that B.Grimm has participated for the infrastructure development or modernization in Thailand at that time? What kind of business?
I think that our main project was this canals. I think that's a huge enterprise to build 1,500 kilometers. I cannot imagine how huge that was. So then B.Grimm also became a contractor. So we built a paper factory in Kanchanaburi. We built, for the armed forces, we built the gas mask factory. We have always been supplying to the State Railway of Thailand. So we have been dealing with them since the inception. It's even went to the point that after World War II, when Merck, a company we have been doing business with since 1900, they said that B.Grimm is so concentrated on this infrastructure project with the State Railway, we have to help them a bit more with pharmaceutical, which was actually our origin.
Our origin.
I think over time, B.Grimm always tried to adapt with what is possible. So when infrastructure projects were all in government hands, we supplied products, we supplied turnkey systems. And then now when infrastructure projects are open to private participation, now we try to participate ourselves. So on the supply side, after World War II, we provided a big part of the telecommunication infrastructure with Siemens. So in the beginning, we were their distributor and we were contractor. At the end, we became joint venture partner with Siemens. And Siemens supply a big part of the mobile and the fixed network telecommunication net in Thailand. Siemens also supplied a number of big power plants, both to EGAT and to us. And what I'm so happy about is that we could help the private sector and later the state railway to build these mass transit systems. Maybe, I think the young generation today, they think that a train system that runs all the time permanently without interruption is something normal in their life. Right? But in that time, in the 1990s, it was very difficult to get this project, the BTS, going. And high praise has to go to Kun Kiri and Kun Kasem, who made it happen at that time. And at the same time, the German Development Bank, KfW, and Siemens, with the coordination of B.Grimm and part of our participation there, made it finally happen.
Well, to me, B.Grimm is part of Thailand history. You have been involved in the modernization of Thailand, particularly the infrastructure development projects. Until now, what project in the infrastructure development that B.Grimm has involved?
So now we do a lot ourselves. So since 1995, we have become involved in building our own power plants. And I think this is something that really contributes a lot to Thailand's industrialization. What many people abroad maybe do not know is that over 30% of Thailand's GDP comes from industry. And I think a great thing about Thailand is, if you talk about economy, is that Thailand can stand on so many feet. So we have very thriving agricultural sector, food for the world. We have a fantastic tourism industry, and we have great industry. Now, one reason why industries like to come to Thailand is because of the really good industrial parks. So we started in Amata Industrial Park, joined with them, and we built a power plant to supply both to the government and to over 100 factories in this industrial plant and these industrial parks. And these factory owners and management, they tell everybody that one of the main reasons why they do well is because the supply from our plants has such high quality and such high stability. And they like to do that. And this is one reason why they invest also in Thailand. So now we have already 10 plants in operation, and we are building more. We are now in more parks. We keep on doing that. And we have now expanded into solar energy. We have a wind energy license. We are building the most beautiful hydro project in Laos. It's spectacularly beautiful. So sometimes you think that when you think of water hydro projects, then people will destroy nature and people have to be moved and so on. Nothing like that. You see that, and that project, there's only a small pond, and one uses the height of the water, and you can still see the beautiful waterfall, and one can make a nice scenery viewing there and so. So we are now involved in nearly all types of fuels, and this is something I really appreciate. It's a project in the beginning where people said it's not feasible, like big international companies, they wanted to do that first, they said cannot be done, and we showed it can be done. And secondly, this company is purely run by Thai. We have maybe 2-3 foreigners, but they are in a junior level. So this is all Thai run, and we have the same efficiency, we have, or sometimes better, and same availability as the best European plants. So I think that shows that and I tell them all the time, Thai people can have the same standard and the same achievements as anybody else in the whole world.
So, Kuling, other than what you have mentioned, I have met some or many business sectors overseas. They said that one factor which is very important for making decision to invest in Thailand or in particular country or places is stability. And they said that Thailand is now stable. They have a full confidence in the stability in Thailand at the moment. So they decide, many of them decide to stay in Thailand and decide to come to invest in Thailand. Is that the case? What is your perception or opinion on this?
Well, we have been here for 137 years, so we always believe in the goodness and the prospects of Thailand and the stability. I said that if you're in business, you want to see how does the country develop and what is it based on. So as I mentioned before, Thailand has many legs to stand on, so that provides for high stability. Thailand is a very well respected country. Thai products really highly respected. If you go to Myanmar, the products they like to have most is Thai. So when we went there to sell air conditioner, they said, the dealer said, okay, we will dismantle, and when we find out that it's not from Thailand, we will not buy.
Okay.
Yeah? So Thai produce really high quality products. I think we have a really high cohesion in Thailand. See, sometimes people get carried away with the color game or look at demonstration and so on. I grew up in a Germany that was very strongly divided between people who are really serious socialists and people who wanted to continue as it was. In our class, you have a division, really. On one side, the socialists, they want to expropriate everybody. They want the government to do everything. They want to take everything away from those who have. And the other who think that that might not be the proper way. So in Thailand, you see, no matter what color people have, they all want the country to prosper, the commercial sector to go ahead. Nobody ever wants to do anything to foreign companies. Yeah? So they all want more foreign investment to come. So it's more, I think it's a more maybe political view in one or the other direction. And it's much less divisive as it was in Germany when I was there. And you can see that one of our most successful chancellors lately, who introduced a lot of reform, make Germany now as strong as it is, he was a super socialist when he was young. So people also change. And I think you can also say that people mature, people look back, and Thailand have a great capacity to forgive. So I think that is a great part of stability is you have a predominantly Buddhist country, which is already compassion is part of Buddhist culture. You have a cohesive population who mainly from the same background. You have, of course, the monarchy, which is something which shows worldwide when you have a constitutional monarchy, is something that people can relate to and look up to. We, of course, we are so blessed with His Majesty because you can see that he lives for Thailand. He does everything that the country will develop well. And what, of course, people like me very much enjoyed is when we had the flooding problem, everybody could see that if you're really for the country and you had followed His Majesty's ideas, then we might have less problems with the flooding. So there are so many factors that Thailand has stability, and we are so confident. We keep on investing tens of billions of baht into Thailand. And the past has showed us things correct. And we can, from here, you can go to many other countries. It's a great hub. When we had this big problem in 1998, so the Tom Yam Goong crisis, I went to all our partners and asked them, do they want to quit? Do they want to look for another partner? Is there anything they want to do different? They said, no. We love Thailand. We stay with Thailand. We love B.Grimm. We stay with B.Grimm. Anything we can help, we will do. And I think this is the attitude of all foreigners and all foreign companies who are here, they have really great confidence and they're happy to continue. And you can see that Thailand always comes back to, from maybe was one direction maybe a bit much, then comes back to the other. There's always a tendency to equilibrium. There's always a tendency to come back to the center, which I think is a great capacity to do and to achieve.
Well, I am overwhelmed by listening to you describing about your perception on Thailand, particularly your view on the stability in Thailand. Of course, 137 years is quite long, and you've been through a lot of easy time, difficult time, rain or shine. Any moment that you have been checked about stability in Thailand, talking about thinking about moving to somewhere else. Is there any moment of that kind of thought?
I'm trying to remember when, because there wasn't. Because even when we have this, when we have the strife here, a demonstration of somewhere very close to my home and somewhere very close to our office, we know that this is temporary, this will go away. Mm-hmm. And we know that actually all the people who are one side, they actually have cousins and daughters and sisters and friends and colleagues who are on the other side, and then outside the demonstration they will talk to each other. So I know they will all, there will be a solution. Sometimes this look maybe is violent, but I think if you look at European countries, when they burn the streets in Paris, everybody knows this will be fine after a few days. Then the police comes out and they have a fight here and there, and people die. America, you have these demonstrations all the time. You have some violence all the time. There are over 60 million people living here in Thailand. So there must be some possibility for people to have maybe some crime, violence. But Thailand overall will always have a fine-tuned equilibrium, always go fine. You can see, you can just look at the history. We had always these movements, and it always came to a good solution, because finally Thai people think we are Thai, and we have friends in all quarters, and finally we are forgiving, and finally we like to have a good life together, because this is what life's all about. People want to be happy.
So I can feel that from what you have discussed or what you have shared with me today, stability is now in Thailand, and of course people can confident in Thailand, and the Thai people should not take things for granted for what we are having, for what we are doing in Thailand. And of course, in order to achieve everything, in order to success in living your life or doing business, compassion is also the key word.
Yes.
I think we have learned a lot from you. I have learned a lot from you, and the viewer at home would also learn a lot from you. Well, thank you very much for sharing the very, very wonderful thing, wonderful perception with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We now are at the last part of the Today's Insider. We spent nearly 25 minutes with Kun Link, and I believe that we gained much more than we spent today. Kun Link has assured the Thai people and the foreigner who want to come to visit Thailand or to invest in Thailand that Thailand is now stable. And he admired the resilience of the Thai people, the resilience of this country, which is very important for making the environment conducive for doing business in Thailand. But the conversation hasn't over yet. We still have plenty of time to talk to him next week. And of course, we will continue our interesting conversation with him again. Please join me next week. สวัสดีครับ